Hey cake chums, and welcome back to another video. Now first things first, this isn't actually the video I was planning on uploading this week, but following last week's video, which was how to use the new ganaching kit from Bridget's Cake Room, which by the way, if you haven't watched it yet, I will link it up in the corner. Go and watch it, it's amazing. My husband has not shut up about chocolate biscuit cake. What is chocolate biscuit cake, you might be asking? Well, I was equally clueless about this chocolatey wonder up until very recently. Apparently in Ireland, one of the most popular types of cake that people order from cake makers is chocolate biscuit cake. I'd seen people talk about it on social media. I know many of my Irish friends make it regularly for their orders, but I'd never really seen it myself in person until when Bridget sent over her brand new ganaching kit, she also included some of her chocolate biscuit cake. Now, I haven't actually tried this yet, but I did give the other piece to my husband, who hoovered it straight up, and pretty much ever since then has not stopped asking me to either give him this other piece or to make one myself. Now, I'm a firm believer in anything for an easy life. So, as a result, and to basically make him stop asking me, in this week's video, we are going to be finding out what is chocolate biscuit cake, why is it such a huge thing in Ireland and yet not really a thing at all over here in the UK, and how do you make it? Let's get to the video. Now, before we get started on making our own chocolate biscuit cake, I really do think we need to find out a little bit more about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop in a quick call to one of my Irish caking friends and see if we can find out exactly what is going on with this chocolate biscuit cake and why don't we know anything about it over here. Go!
Hey, hello! How are you?
So Maria, for those people who do not know you, first of all, who are you?
I am Maria of Sugar Ducky Cake Design, and I just make cakes for the laugh. No other real reason. It's just for a bit of fun.
Although for record people, she doesn't just make cakes, she makes amazing works of art cakes. In fact, I'm going to pop some of your cakes up on the screen so that everyone can see them.
Oh, you.
Amazing. But particularly, the most important part of Maria right now is that you are a real bona fide Irish person, aren't you?
Yes, as it says on my expired passport, I am definitely Irish.
And so you are the person that we need to talk to find out about this chocolate biscuit cake. What is chocolate biscuit cake?
Right, chocolate biscuit cake. It's a very delicate, refined cake where you just melt loads of stuff together.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's so popular here. And I think the main thing is that, like, you know, if you're going for your 8-inch chocolate biscuit cake, that is going to serve so much more than any of your sponges, and it will last longer if it doesn't get eaten. So it's a great thing. It's just chocolate biscuits, something sweet and butter, and yeah, that's it.
Again, coming at this from the perspective of someone in the UK, and I've got to be careful, last week I referred to us as the mainland, and the Irish viewers didn't like that. Because originally I wanted to say UK, but obviously then I'm grouping in Northern Ireland, and I'm sure Northern Ireland and Ireland have very similar cake decorating trends. So at least me personally, not speaking on behalf of any nation or part of the world geographically, I wasn't really aware of chocolate biscuit cake until I became friends with loads of Irish cake makers, decorators. And I mean, it seems so common that I have the book, The Celtic Cakers, which I believe you contributed a tutorial to.
I did indeed.
And in the book, there is a recipe for chocolate biscuit cake, which has been kind of on my to-do list since forever. But would you say then that it's quite a big part of cake making and cake decorating in Ireland?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't take orders, but obviously a lot of my friends, or most of my friends, are cakers. And the main requests they would get would be for chocolate biscuit cake. Like, just to put it into perspective, around Christmas, I don't know if you've seen the Christmas puddings, chocolate biscuit cake Christmas puddings.
Yes, there is. We talked about it last week on the drippy icing.
Yeah, there you go. But that is, like, I know I've got one friend in particular that she says that the Christmas chocolate biscuit cake puddings will pay for her flights on the holidays that year. Like, the profits from that will go for the flights and the holidays, and then communion season will go for the hotel. So, like, it is a huge thing. People will make hundreds of these biscuit cake puddings.
And you even use them in like normal cakes as well, don't you? So when we get a request, well, I say we, I also don't make cakes to order, but when people get a request for, you know, like an 8-inch round birthday cake, quite often that will also be, underneath all that icing, there will be chocolate biscuit cake.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, I'd say most orders would be for chocolate biscuit cake.
Why do you think it's such a huge staple in Ireland, and yet it's nothing we've really heard of over here?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps it's just time to spread the word.
This could be it. This could be the dawning of the age of the British chocolate biscuit cake.
A revolution, Rob, a revolution. But no, honestly, it is great because, well, for some people that might be a little bit slower at decorating than others, it stays fresh for so long. Because you know yourself, if you're doing like a sculpted cake or something that's quite intricate, and you're baking on one day and you've got such a small time period to get it all together and to the customer or to your friend or whoever you're giving it to, where it's all fresh, but you're really rushing at trying to get all your decoration done. But with the chocolate biscuit cake, you can have it done a couple of weeks in advance if you want to. Like, wow. It keeps so well. It really does. I think you noticed yourself about a cake that I'd made at Christmas and I only cut into it a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it was still absolutely perfect.
So does everyone have their own recipe, or is there like a kind of a generally accepted method?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two schools of thought. And one would be using golden syrup, which I think most people do. And then the other would be condensed milk. But yeah, I think a lot of people go for Bridget's cakes. Bridget has a recipe, like she would be known for her biscuit cake. And I think a lot of people use that.
Rather coincidentally, I was sent, when I was sent the ganaching kit, which was in my video last week, which I think you've seen, she also very kindly sent me some of her chocolate biscuit cake, which this video, but she also sent me her brand new updated version of her chocolate biscuit cake liner. So you mentioned Bridget's recipe. We're actually going to be having a go at that.
Okay.
That's the plan of action for today's video. So perhaps I'll give you another call later on to show you the results, and we'll get the official Irish response, again, allowing you to speak for your entire nation. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you if they want to see more of your amazing work?
Well, on Facebook, Sugar Ducky Cake Design, and same on Instagram. And that's it.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much. Big kisses to you.
Later. I like your t-shirt, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're matching. Amazing.
We are, yes.
This is Maria's husband, Tony, and he is a huge supporter of loads of our cake friends. So much so that I immortalised him on a t-shirt that is available in my web shop. If anyone else would like to wear a t-shirt with Maria's husband on it, you can pick it up there. But anyway, so give our love to Tony, and I will talk to you later. Mwah.
Bye.
Now, of course, I might be making some very sweeping assessments when I say that we haven't heard of chocolate biscuit cake here in the UK. In fact, my husband tells me that it's apparently the Queen's favourite type of cake. Who knew? But I know, at least in the kind of the immediate vicinity of the little part of the cake world that I inhabit, it's definitely not a mainstream thing. It's not something that people are whipping up week after week to fulfill their cake orders. But maybe, as Maria said, it's time for that to change. So we are going to have a go at making a chocolate biscuit cake right here, right now. And in fact, as you heard during my chat with Maria, we are going to be using another product from Bridget's Cake Room that she very kindly sent me. Now, I believe that this is a reimagining or a redesign of a product that Bridget has had for quite some time, and it works in a very similar way to the ganaching kit that we were using last week. So again, here in the box, we have got a cake liner and a clip it. And once again, we have our non-stick circle and our liner that looks exactly like the one you saw last week, including the peel-off protector. Now, I've got the kit here for a 6-inch chocolate biscuit cake, so that's what we're going to be making today. The recipe I have is actually for an 8-inch, but rather than try and cut it down, I'm actually going to make up an 8-inch batch, but we're still going to stick with the 6-inch kit. We'll fill that right up, and then if I have anything left over, we'll think of something else to do with it, because I don't think it's going to go to waste. Not in this house anyway. But yeah, so let's have a bit of a sort out, and let's get cracking on making my very first chocolate biscuit cake. Okay, so I've zoomed you out. Hopefully you can see pretty much everything that's going on here. And what we have got is our 6-inch cake tin to assemble the liner in. We've got our big pile of ingredients. We've got some scales. We've got a few other bits and pieces. And because I know you guys have been keen to see more of my Kenwood Chef Patissier XL, that's not remotely what it's called, the new Kenwood Patissier stand mixer with that built-in heating element, we're going to try and use that today to make our melted chocolate mixture. So first thing I'm going to do is assemble the cake tin liner, and to do that I've got a 6-inch, 3-inch deep PME seamless cake tin, and just like last week with the ganaching kit, we're going to put that non-stick layer in the bottom of the tin. Then we're going to grab the liner and give it a bit of a roll in like we did last week as well. Now, if you don't have Bridget's cake tin liner, you can do this just using grease-proof paper around the outside of your tin, but apparently that doesn't give you quite such a flawless finish, so that's why this product is such an exciting release for the people who make these all the time. Obviously, without the use of a liner like this, you are purely dependent on the height of your tin to give you the height of your cake. So in this tin here, I'd only be able to do a 3-inch deep cake, but because we have this liner in, this is actually 7 inches tall. So we can definitely go a lot deeper with this one than I would have been able to do otherwise. And then once the tin is ready, I guess it's time to start making the recipe. As I've already mentioned, we are going to try and use the built-in heating element of my stand mixer here to do all the work for us, to save me getting out a double boiler as well. So we're going to fit it with that creaming beater just because it's my favourite. Pop the lid down, and I'm going to turn that heating element on to a number 7, which the user guide recommends for melting chocolate. So that's now warming up, and we can start breaking up our 550 grams of dark chocolate and 550 grams of milk chocolate. So there is 550 grams of milk chocolate, and then we do exactly the same with 550 grams of dark chocolate. And so there is our dark chocolate. In with the chocolate, we're going to put 454 grams of butter. Now that might seem like an odd amount, but I think that butter comes in different size blocks in Ireland to what it does here in England at least. So our butter comes in 250 gram blocks, but I think it's different there. Now this allegedly is softened butter, but it's still pretty cold in the studio, so it's not very soft, which isn't a problem because of course we are melting it. And then the last liquid ingredient that goes in there is 454 grams of golden syrup, which is a whole tin. So I'm getting the impression that chocolate biscuit cake is pretty sweet. which supports what Maria was saying to me before about the fact that you actually get quite a lot of portions or servings out of a chocolate biscuit cake simply because you don't need very much. So I guess we're going to be putting in a whole tin of golden syrup. I don't think I've ever finished a tin of golden syrup, let alone put a whole one into one recipe before. If anyone's watching in the US, by the way, and is wanting to recreate this recipe, I guess the closest thing you have to golden syrup is corn syrup. And then it's just a case of allowing all of those ingredients to melt together, giving them a bit of a stir every now and then. And I guess while it's doing that, we can get started on preparing our biscuits for the chocolate biscuit cake. Now, because he's the one who requested it, I did insist that Bobbit, or my husband, went and bought all of the ingredients. And having a look, they're not all quite in the right quantities. For example, we're using 360 grams of digestive biscuits. The closest thing you have in the States would be graham crackers. 360 grams of rich tea biscuits, but I've got rich tea fingers. I mean, I'm sure they'll be fine, they're just slightly thinner. And then we have 360 grams of ginger nut biscuits. I've only got 300 grams of those, so I'm going to bulk up my numbers by putting in extra rich tea and digestives. We then have 300 grams of Maltesers. So I'm going to get all of those ready, and then I'll show you what to do with them. Okay, so some time has passed. I have weighed out all of my biscuits and portioned them up. This is melting well, and every now and then I'm just turning on the mixer on its lowest speed, giving it a bit of a stir, and then turning it off again and carrying on with that heating. To prepare your biscuits, what I've done is I've portioned them out into some sandwich bags, not particularly good quality ones, I'm afraid. And then I'm just using a rolling pin to very roughly break them up. We don't want them to be dust, we want chunks of biscuit, but we don't want whole biscuits. Now I was a bit overzealous with my ginger nut biscuits and have made a hole in the bag, so that could get very messy. But yeah, just a very rough smash, just to get them down into kind of more bite-sized pieces, I guess. This is a great opportunity to get the kids involved. However, you may well lose some biscuits along the way. You may also lose some biscuits along the way if I'm helping as well. And yes, I did eat the rest of the Maltesers too. Okay, so you can see I've now got the mixer running constantly on that minimum speed, just to kind of really melt down those last few bits of chocolate. The bowl feels nicely warm to the touch, it's not too hot, which is ideal for chocolate. Bear in mind, chocolate will melt in the heat from your hand. We don't need it on a particularly high heat to melt chocolate at all. It's looking pretty good to me, so I'm going to pop that lid up, jump back in there with my spatula and see if we have any lumps left, but it's not looking like we do. Perfect, so we'll scrape off that beater. Again, regular viewers will know we don't waste mix in this kitchen. We do, however, wear most of it. So hopefully on the camera you can see we've got this lovely, smooth, glossy chocolatey mixture. And don't forget, in there we had the milk chocolate, the dark chocolate, the butter, and that whole tin of golden syrup. So next we are going to add in our biscuits. So we've got our rich tea, so we don't want to waste mix, and then I scoop up half of it with the bag, our ginger nuts, our digestives, and I might give this a stir before we go in with the Maltesers as well. So I have another spatula here. Perhaps I should have done this a bit at a time. Regular makers of chocolate biscuit cake, feel free to tell me how you do this bit. If in doubt, go in by hand. Okay, that looks like an awful lot of mix for this tiny tin. So I'm going to start, I think I'm genuinely going to carry on by hand I'm going to just start dropping that down into the tin, pushing it down nice and firmly to make sure that it gets into all the crevices. We don't want any gaps. And then I understand it's about really squashing it down to make sure that there are no gaps anywhere. And so with a great deal of the mixture over the worktop, but most of it inside my tin with that liner, we now have a 7-inch tall, 6-inch round chocolate biscuit cake. Now, we actually managed to use almost all of that mixture, making it 7 inches tall. So I'm sure I can find a use for the rest of that. What you saw right at the end there was I just used a palette knife to smooth over the top, just to give me that nice flat finish, because, you know, we do like things to be neat and tidy. But this now needs to go into the fridge, ideally overnight, because we want that chocolate mixture to set, chill right down so that everything is all held together. And once we've done that, we should have a really strong chocolate biscuit cake that we could then go on to decorate with sugar paste and what have you. So yes, I'm going to go and put that in the fridge, and next time I see you, it will be probably tomorrow morning. So until then, sweet dreams, bye. Okay, I completely lied to you. It's not the next morning at all. It's now late evening and I've just got back from a 7.5 mile walk because I am doing March the Month this month in aid of Prostate Cancer UK. So if anyone feels like sponsoring me or donating, I'll put my sponsorship link down in the video description. But I'm feeling invigorated and ready to see if this has worked as we hope it will have done. So, I'm assuming it works very similarly to the ganaching kit. So I'm going to start by sliding out the clip it, he says, which I have completely buried because don't forget, we have filled our chocolate biscuit cake liner. I was going to say mould, it's not really a mould, is it? It's a liner all the way to the brim, so I can't really get a grip on this at all. So well done me. See, scribing tools are useful for more than just royal icing. And then I'm going to pop this board on the top, flip the entire thing upside down, like so. And then I imagine when I take this off, I was going to say it's going to ping, but it isn't pinging. Oh, but I didn't do a very good job, did I? Oh, dearie me. So we can see further down, which was up, I did a much better job of packing it in, but this top part, I did not do a very good job at all. So, lesson learned, when you are filling your chocolate biscuit tin liner, if you're using one, or your tin if you're not, you really need to be packing in at every single step of the way, not just near the top. But this is an easy fix because I happen to have some leftover chocolate ganache, so I'm going to quickly use that to fill in any gaps and then we will be finished. There you go, minutes later. Quick bit of ganache to fill in any of those little holes and boom, suddenly we have that perfect chocolate biscuit cake that we were after. Just be our little secret. Now I don't really want to be cutting this one just yet because again it is fresh out of the fridge and will be absolutely rock solid. So I feel like it's only right that we crack open the chocolate biscuit cake that I was sent by Bridget and find out what all this fuss is actually about. I'll be honest, I am a little bit scared. I haven't got the sweetest of teeth. Sweetest of teeth? I haven't got the biggest sweet tooth? I know what I mean. Okay, here goes. Do you know, it isn't as sweet as I thought it was going to be. Excuse me, mouthful. Between, you know, the two different types of chocolate and all that golden syrup, I really did think it was going to be so sickly sweet, but actually, it kind of all balances out. I could totally eat more of this. I mean, it does help that I'm an absolute fiend for a chocolate biscuit, I have to say, so yum. Firstly, let me say a huge thank you to Bridget, first of all, for bringing chocolate biscuit cake into my life. Obviously, we'll give mine a taste later on, and I can always head to the comments and let you know what it's like. If you are interested, do give me a shout. If you'd be interested in having a go at chocolate biscuit cake, I will put a link to Bridget's recipe down in the video description, which, as you heard from Maria earlier on in the video, is a pretty much go-to recipe for most of the Irish cakers who are making this all of the time. If you would like to pick up one of the chocolate biscuit cake liners from Bridget's Cake Room, I will also put a link to where you can buy that down in the video description. And as I mentioned earlier on, if you would like to sponsor me on my sponsored month-long walk for Prostate Cancer UK, then I will also put a link to that in the video description as well. Thank you again to Bridget for sending over one of her liners for me to have a play with, as well as this delicious chocolate biscuit cake, which, as I've already mentioned, has revolutionised somebody else's life. I don't think he will ever be the same again. Thank you also to Maria from Sugar Ducky Cake Design for joining us in this week's video and introducing us to chocolate biscuit cake and giving us that proper Irish perspective. And of course, thank you to all of you for watching this week's video. As always, if you enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up down below. And if it was your first time here in the Mr. Baker's Cakes kitchen, don't forget you can hit that big red subscribe button down there on the right before you go. If you are already subscribed, you can also hit the bell icon, and that will make sure you get a notification every time I post. Now, as I say, it is pretty late. I have a video to edit, so I'm going to wrap things up here, guys. Thanks again, and I'll see you at the same time next week. Until then, happy caking.